Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Diego with the beautiful Karina, my lovely prometida. And we are waiting patiently for our K1 visa to get adjudicated at the service center in California, USA, way over on the West Coast. We, as in I, live in Florida, in the Panhandle, east of Pensacola, north of Navarre Beach. Navarre Beach is where we're going to get married when I bring Karina to the USA. And Karina is a legal resident of Bogota, Colombia, but her home country is Venezuela. And thank goodness she lives in Colombia, because the United States and Venezuela are not seeing eye to eye on certain things. So Karina got out of Venezuela and relocated to beautiful Colombia. And she will do her K1 visa interview at the U.S. Embassy in Bogota. Now this video, ladies and gentlemen, is about the beautiful country of Sri Lanka, and it's the embassy processing and information about K1 visas. So come on along, let's go. Now Sri Lanka is officially known as the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka and is an island country in South Asia, okay? It lies in the Indian Ocean, southwest of the Bay of Bengal. Okay, it is separated from the Indian Peninsula by the Gulf of Mannar and the Palk Strait. Now, Sri Lanka shares a maritime border with the Maldives, okay, in the southwest, and India in the northwest. So, how interesting is that? And Sri Lanka has a population of around 22 million people. And the home is home to many cultures, languages, and ethnicities, which I like to see. Now, the Sinhalese people form the majority of the nation's population, followed by the Tamils, who are the largest minority group, okay? And they are concentrated in northern Sri Lanka. And both groups have played an influential role in the island's history, and both groups are very important to Sri Lanka. Other long-established groups include the Moors, the Indian Tamils, the Burghers, the Malays, Chinese people, and the indigenous Veda. Okay, Sri Lanka, an island in South Asia, is shaped as a teardrop or a pear mango. Very interesting shape for the island, and lies on the Indian Plate, which is a major tectonic plate, formerly part of the Indo-Australian Plate. So they are subject, and they have to endure earthquakes as the island shifts and moves along the plate, which is scary, I'm sure. The island of Sri Lanka consists mainly of flat rolling coastal plains with mountains rising only in the south central part, okay? And the highest point is Pidrutalagala. Woo! That's a long word. I'm just going to put it right up here. That's the highest point, okay? And it is 8,281 feet above sea level, which is about the same height as Bogota, Colombia. So I could probably handle it at the highest point in Sri Lanka. Well, I don't know. Sri Lanka also has 103 rivers, and the longest of these rivers is the Mahaweli River, which is 208 miles long, okay? And these waterways give rise to 51 natural waterfalls of 33 feet or more in height. How cool is that? The highest waterfall in Sri Lanka is Bambarankanda Falls, which is 863 feet tall. I would love to check that out. And Sri Lanka's coastline is 985 miles around. Now, Sri Lanka claims an economic exclusive economic zone, extending 200 nautical miles out from its shoreline, which is 6.7 times Sri Lanka's land area. So Sri Lanka is claiming all the fish and all of its economic exclusion zones 200 nautical miles off the coast. Now, the climate is tropical and warm because of the moderating effects of the ocean winds. And the average temperature is from 62.6 degrees Fahrenheit in the central highlands, but it can get frosty in the wintertime there, and then a maximum of 91.4 degrees Fahrenheit in the low altitude areas. That's where I would be hanging out, where it's warm. Sri Lanka is very famous for its production and export of cinnamon, which I have in the kitchen right here, rubber, Ceylon tea, which remains as a trademark and a national export, which is good news. The development of modern ports has raised the strategic importance of the island as a center for trade. And from 1948 to 1977, socialism influenced the government's economic policies. But good news, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here in capitalist America, in 1977, the free market economy was introduced to Sri Lanka, incorporating privatization, deregulation, and the promotion of private enterprise, which we know works. That's why everybody wants to come to the USA, right? Now, while the production and export of tea, rubber, coffee, sugar, and other commodities remain very important, industrialization has also very important in Sri Lanka with food processing, textiles, telecommunications, and finance, okay? And the country's main economic sectors are tourism, tea export, which I mentioned, clothing, rice production, and other agricultural products. Sinhala and Tamil are the two official languages of Sri Lanka, and the constitution defines English as the link language, okay? And English is widely used for education, scientific, and educational and commercial purposes, which is good. And members of the Burgher community, well, they speak a variant form of Portuguese, Creole, and Dutch with good proficiency. And while members of the Malay community speak a form of Creole Malay, okay, that is unique to the island, okay? And Buddhism is the largest and is considered as the official religion of Sri Lanka. And under Chapter 11, Article 9, the Republic of Sri Lanka shall give Buddhism to foremost place, and accordingly it shall be the duty of the state to protect and foster the Buddha Sasana. Okay, I can understand that, absolutely. Now let's talk about food, my favorite subject. Food dishes include rice and curry, pitu, I don't know what pitu is, somebody tell me, kiribath, wholemeal roti, string hoppers, watalapam, which is basically a pudding of Malay made with coconut milk, which sounds pretty good. Jaggery, cashews, eggs, spices, including cinnamon and nutmeg, kotu, and appam. And half of this food I have never heard of, so I'm going to have to go to Sri Lanka with Karina to explore the different delicacies of this beautiful country. And sometimes jackfruit will replace rice. And traditionally food is served on a plantain leaf or lotus leaf. Same is true in Colombia and South America. Plantain leaves are very popular in serving rice and meat products. Now, Dutch and Portuguese food influences are also found with the islands, but within the Burgher community, that culture, preserving their culture through traditional dishes, such as lampreis, which is a cooked rice in stock and baked in a banana leaf. Oh, that sounds pretty good. Bruder, which is a Dutch holiday biscuit, and bolo fiado, which is a Portuguese-style layer cake. Never heard of it? Now I've heard of it. Now let's talk about K1 visas and the U.S. Embassy in beautiful Sri Lanka. In fiscal year 2022, 17 K1 visas were approved by the U.S. State Department for citizens of Sri Lanka who wanted to marry their American citizen sponsors, husbands or wives. Now, the U.S. Embassy is located right here. This is the address to the U.S. Embassy in Sri Lanka. And this is the phone number if you need to call the U.S. Embassy. And what I like about this embassy is they have a call center, okay, where they can help you. And if you are in Sri Lanka, if you are the beneficiary in Sri Lanka, you can call the call center right here for questions and answers. And if you live in the United States and you're the sponsor, you can call this number right here if you want to call the visa section of the embassy. And if you want to email these guys at the U.S. Embassy in Sri Lanka, this is the email address right here. Okay? Now, the United States Embassy in Sri Lanka, and this includes the Maldives, is gradually resuming immigrant and non-immigrant visa services. Now, the members of staff at the U.S. Embassy, okay, in Sri Lanka, they understand, you know, the COVID in the past created all kinds of problems, and they know that many of you guys out there paid your visa fee, your MRV fee, and they're good. These visa fees are good until September 23rd, 2023, and that means very soon you will get your K1 and K2 visa in your passport, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You're going to be on an airplane flying to the United States of America so you can get married and start your lives with your new husband or wife. And we look forward to seeing you. We love to see the folks from Sri Lanka come to the US of A and start their lives here. Okay? And don't forget, we're a capitalist free market country. Okay? And we believe in free market trade. So if you want to get rich and successful and prosperous, here's your opportunity, and we will see you soon in the United States of America. Thanks for watching. And don't forget, every Sunday at 5 p.m. Central Time, U.S. Time, live stream with Diego. I will answer all your questions about K1 visa processing from all of our friends all around the world.
I'll be back.